Story time of how my boyfriend ended up being my stepdad. So I was dating this kid, and me and this kid had like the best relationship. He was 19 and I was 17. And I mean, we were literally always together. And my mom would always call him hot and stuff like that, but you know, I thought that's just what moms do. And I didn't think of it in that type of way. So one day my boyfriend got mad at me. And he was like, I'm gonna F your mom, become your stepdad, and boss you around if you keep up that attitude. And I mean, who would think that he's gonna actually try to do that? And I said, I would like to see you try. But again, we were just in a little argument, so about a month or two goes on, and I find messages from my boyfriend to my mom and vice versa. They were like sexting, and I saw things I did not want to see from my mother. So I went to go confront both of them, and I confronted my mom first. And like, she wouldn't tell me nothing, she just told me to get out of her face. Oh, but my boyfriend told me they had been hooking up. But he told me I was overreacting because it's just my mom. Oh, just wait till you find out what happens next. I'm running out of time for part 2. Part 2 on how my boyfriend became my stepdad. So continuing on with the story, I told him that he was disgusting, and then I just ended our relationship. And like, at first he wouldn't let me break up with him. But then finally we were just both like, okay, this is not gonna work out. So about 2 days later, I come home and I see him at my house. And I'm like, dude, we're not getting back together, so don't try. Like, you're weird. And he has the audacity to go, I'm not here for you, I'm here for your mother. And at that point, I was like, I'm moving out. And that night, I heard some noises that I didn't want to hear. And then my mom ended up getting pregnant again. She's only like 34, I think, but he's 19. So the age gap isn't really that big of a difference. But it's the point that my boyfriend decided to F my mom, get her pregnant, and now I don't even know how I'm related to this child. Yeah, so now my mom's pregnant with my ex-boyfriend's child. I mean, I'm so nice to the kid because it's my step-sibling's dad. But at the same time, I secretly want to, inject him out of the game. In the game I want to inject him out of his life, so yeah. Story time of how I found out that I was pregnant with my stepbrother's baby. So basically, I was 16 at the time, and my mom didn't let me date. So I had to keep dating this guy a secret from my mom. And every weekend, this guy would come over, and she was dating him, but she didn't think that we were ready to meet his kids yet. Okay, so to be able to hang out with my boyfriend, me and him both told our parents that we were going to a friend's house. And my best friend's mom does not care what she does, so me and him would both always go there. So about a year into dating this kid, me and him were both tired of keeping it a secret from our parents. And legit, coincidentally, the same exact night that I was going to tell my mom about my boyfriend is the same exact night her boyfriend was going to bring his kids over, so we could meet them. So I was going to wait till after we met them, so she was in a better mood. And when my mom's boyfriend got there, so did my boyfriend. Me and him literally don't know how we didn't catch on. So we both decided not to tell our parents yet. And then me and my boyfriend decided that we were just going to take advantage of it. Because my mom's boyfriend was going to be moving in, so that means I can live with my boyfriend. I'm running out of time for part 2. Part 2 of how I found out that I was pregnant with my stepbrother's baby. Continuing on with the story, my mom's boyfriend moved in. And because my boyfriend was my mom's boyfriend's son, he also moved in. So every time my mom and her boyfriend, aka my boyfriend's dad, would go to sleep, me and my boyfriend would always end up in the same bed. I don't know how we hid this for such a long time, but they ended up telling us that they were getting married, so me and my boyfriend decided that we were going to tell them that we had been dating for, I think it was 2 years at the time. My mom and his dad were absolutely okay with it, and at that, they made us share a room in our new house. And an exact week after they got married, I ended up taking a pregnancy test just for fun, and it came out positive. I was literally so scared, and 2 days later, my mom told me that she was pregnant. So as we speak now, I have a 2-year-old brother by my boyfriend's dad, and I have a 2-year-old baby by my stepbrother. Oh, also for another story time, I caught my stepbrother, aka my boyfriend, sleeping with my mom. Yeah. Story time of how my entire virtual online class found out that I was pregnant, and one of them ended up telling my mom. So due to COVID, where I live, there is no in-person school, so everybody is virtual. So it was in my first block, and you only have to turn on your cameras for when she does attendance, and then when you're talking. So I was called on, and I had to answer questions, so I unmuted myself, and I turned on my camera. And then when I was done, I turned off my camera, and I think I forgot to mute myself back. After that, during that week, I was already having a pregnancy scare, so I FaceTimed my boyfriend and I went to go take a pregnancy test. Mind you, I don't really listen in class to begin with, so I turned the volume all the way back down because when the teacher calls on you once, she doesn't call on you again. So again, I couldn't hear anything happening in the classroom. So I was on the phone with my boyfriend, I was freaking out while I was taking a pregnancy test, and it ended up coming back positive. So I started freaking out and I started bawling my eyes out, and in my room I was screaming, I'm pregnant, what am I gonna do? I look back over and the session had ended, and everyone in that class is texting me like, oh my god, are you okay? I'm here for you, blah, 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 blah. So of course I start to freak out. I'm running out of time for part 2. Part 2 of how my whole entire online class found out that I was pregnant and one of them told my mom. So continuing with the story, I texted a couple of them back and I was like, how did you know? And they were like, we heard you sobbing in the background screaming, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. Then one of them goes, we heard some guy in the background screaming, just get a hanger, and you were screaming, no! Then one of them comes to tell me that the teacher had to start a brand new class because I wouldn't mute myself. So then I emailed my teacher and I told her that I was going through a really hard time and I really do apologize. And then she explained to me that everything was fine, like she understands things happen. So we were all good until like 3 days later. And my mom calls me telling me that somebody in my class had told her that I am pregnant. And I tried telling her like, no, like that is not true. That is not true whatsoever. And then she sends me a recording that somebody else sent her of me in my room bawling my eyes out screaming, I'm pregnant, I don't know what to do. So somebody in my class was a big old snitch and sent a recording of me screaming I'm pregnant to my mom. And my mom is trying to force me to get an abortion, but I don't want to. To sum it up, I'm moving in with my grandma because she's super, super supportive. And in 3 months, I'll be having a baby boy. Story time of how my dad slept with my 16-year-old sister. So yes, my dad did sleep with his biological daughter. So at the time, my sister was 16 and I was 14. Okay, so my sister and my dad had a really weird connection, but I just thought it was because he favorited her and he didn't really like me that much. He ended up saying his favorite was her because he knew that she was easy. But anyways, back to the story. Every single Friday, he would pick my sister up from school during lunchtime and take her back to the house, and they would have like daddy-daughter lunch there. And then my mom would do the same thing with me on Mondays. Okay, so my sister, one of her friends takes her to school and I take the bus in the morning. And I missed the bus one day. And at the time of me and my sister going to school, my parents are already at work. So I just decided that I was going to have a day off. And yes, this day was a Friday. I'm pretty sure you guys can already see where this story is headed. But I was in my room, I was just chilling, sleeping, and then all of a sudden I hear stuff happening between my dad. Part 2 of how I caught my dad sleeping with my 16-year-old sister. Continuing with the story, after my dad and my sister come home for their lunch, I get woken up from my amazing nap hearing my dad and my sister doing the thingy. When I tell you my sister was off for waiting for marriage, oh my gosh. My sister wouldn't even touch a boy in the wrong spot before marriage. So I don't know how this came about. But listen, I am nosy as heck, so of course I tiptoed all the way over to them. They were in her room. I whipped my phone out so fast I acted like I was on a talk show and I said, presenting. I opened the door and I see my sister and my dad actually sleeping together. They were under the blanket, so I didn't see any private areas. My sister was really, really popular at school. So out of this situation, I got her to walk me around school everywhere. My dad bought me a car and gave me $1,000. Haha, I made him go broke. Then after I got everything I wanted, I told my mom. She kicked my sister and my dad out, and I'm pretty sure they live together now, but I haven't talked to him since. Story time of how I got the best revenge on my worst enemy. So basically, there was this girl that literally copied my absolute every move. It all started because the boy that she was dating tried to hit me up. So I guess she was trying to be more like me, I guess. And it all started when I got a puppy. Literally 2 days later, she ended up getting a puppy. The same kind of puppy. Then about a week goes on and I dye my hair blonde. Well, I bleach it. And she dyes her hair blonde. Okay, then the next day, I posted on my story about this app that I was using. It's called Fitness Coach, and I was getting my dream body from it. Also, the link to that app will be in my bio. But then not even an hour later, she posted that she was using it. Then I just noticed every single little thing that I did, she would also start to copy. She even started literally copying my outfits head to toe. So once I noticed that, I decided I was gonna try something out. And I bought a bald cap from the store. And then I posted on a private story with only her in it. Ha, guess what happened 2 days later? I'm running out of time for part 2. Part 2 if I got the best revenge on my worst enemy. Continuing on with the story, after I got a bald cap and posted it on my private story with only her in it, 2 days later she shaves her head. So this is the time where I try to confront the girl. Because at this point it's obvious she's trying to copy me. And after I confronted her about her trying to copy me, she then tried to say that I was the one trying to copy her. And then switch up the whole story. But for about months and months she continued to copy me. And now here's where the story gets bad. My puppy ended up passing away due to heart failure. And then of course I posted about it on my Instagram story. And that night I was scrolling through who viewed it. And I see her little fake account. And honestly, I didn't think anything of it. It took a little bit, but 5 days later, I see on her story, my baby will always have a place in my heart. Rip Moxie. Oh, I named my dog Roxy, by the way. And that's the exact thing I put on my story. Exact words and everything. I don't know what she did with the dog. And honestly, I'm terrified to know. But after that, I blocked her on absolutely everything because I came to the conclusion that she is crazy.